What's up, everybody? It's Jacob, the Sports King, coming back again for the divisional NFL playoff round. Just quick recap before we get into things. In the college football season, I ended up finishing 21-10 straight up, which is fairly good considering a lot of evenly matched teams. In the bowl games, there's a couple of exceptions with a couple of big line games like I know Oklahoma was a big favorite over Iowa, and Boise State was another big type favorite. Other than that, but other than a couple of those teams, you're looking at 5 points or under for some of the favorites. So, um, 21-10 with the national championship right in Alabama, uh, and so that's pretty good. And against the spread, we finished 17-14, which is not quite what I wanted to be. I wanted it to be about 60% in those. Just fell a little bit short of that. Just barely being above 500 by 3 games. But still above 500, so not too bad. But I was shooting for 60. But oh well. Last week, my picks were Cincinnati against Houston. That was a loss. I had Denver +9, and they won the game outright, so that was a win. And then in the NFC, I had the Giants -3 over Atlanta. That was a win. They destroyed them 24-12. And then the Lions fell just short of covering the 11 points. It was 28-45 was the final score in favor of the Saints. So one score away from that one. So 2-2 last week. Another average type performance, but we'll try to do better this week, hoping to go 4-0. I like these week's picks a lot more than last week's anyways, so we'll get right into it. New Orleans is at San Francisco. This game takes place on Saturday, which is tomorrow. And what I'm going to do for you guys is give an offensive and defensive number based on offensive yards through passing and rushing on average, and defensive yards based on offensive and defensive, or offensive and passing yards and rushing passing yards allowed for the defensive number, if that makes sense at all. But that's where I'm going to get my numbers from. Defensively, New Orleans has a defensive number of 21, and this is I believe they were like 19th against the run and 29th against the pass, which, is hard to kind of look at because New Orleans basically says, hey, do you want to win? Outscore me. And so they play a lot of high-scoring games. They know that their offense is their strong point, and so that's basically their style of play. So they're going to give up quite a bit defensively. So you're looking at high-scoring games with the Saints. The 49ers are the complete opposite. They like to run the ball, and they like to rely on their defense. Their defensive number is 8.5. So it's just pretty good, and it's about an average of 4 in each category if you break that number down. And offensively, the 49ers have a 13.5 offensive number, being that they're one of the better rushing teams in the NFL with Frank Gore and Kendall Hunter in the backfield. But I think that the 49ers are going to struggle to score points. I think if they score more than 20, they have a chance. But if they score anything less than that, I don't see them being in this game. And just their options at receiver aren't the greatest. They're not bad. They're average. I mean, Braylon Edwards is an average wide receiver in the NFL. Crabtree is a rookie who is about an average wide receiver in the NFL. Their best offensive threat in my eyes outside of Gore is actually Vernon Davis is a pretty good tight end, so that may cause problems for the Saints in this game. But the big thing that they're going to try and do in this game is San Francisco is going to try to run the ball, rely on their defense, keep the ball out of Drew Brees and the Saints' hands. The Saints are gonna, do the complete opposite. They're gonna want the ball. They're gonna want to score. They're gonna want to get in a high-scoring matchup because I guarantee you, if this game is above the 20 to 24 type number for each team, either team, I definitely see the Saints winning this game. I'm gonna take the Saints -4 as my pick, and we'll move on to Denver and the Patriots. Uh, as you know, Denver won last week against the Steelers. Tim Tebow actually played really good. He had 300 yards passing, a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, no interceptions. He played pretty good. If we get that Tim Tebow this week, you could see an upset, but this game is going to basically rely on the Denver linebacker core and their defense. Now, their secondary is actually pretty good with Champ Bailey being the anchor man in the secondary. But with that said, the Patriots use a lot of their offensive weapons or their tight ends, and even though they're considered tight ends, they're still in the spread shotgun offense quite a bit. And so, I mean, it kind of takes them out from under center a little bit. A lot of times they're spread out wide as like wide receiver, but either way, you might see the linebacker core covering some of those guys. And so the real question in this game is, can the Denver linebackers cover the Patriot tight ends? We know that the Denver linebackers are pretty good with Von Miller, Elvis Dumervil, um, and but they're good at getting pressure on the Patriots or any team for that matter. They give a lot of pressure, and we'll be testing their coverage abilities more in this game, more than getting to Brady, because he gets the ball quick and it's really hard to get to him. They've got a pretty good offensive line too. They have for years. You notice that with a lot of the good quarterbacks, they almost never end up on the ground. Breeze, Rodgers, Brady, even Eli Manning, they get the ball out so quick, and with that shotgun, it's really hard to get to them because they're so far back. But with all that said, Denver's defensive number is 20, and the Patriots is 24th. Now, the Patriots have a really bad rushing defense and a bad passing defense. So if Tebow can control the ball and play to his abilities like he's been in the games that he's won, I think that Denver can hang in this game. Offensively, the Patriots are 11th, which is heavily weighted towards the passing yards, and Denver is 16th, heavily weighted towards the rushing yards. So you're going to basically see, if it's a lower scoring game, you got to like Denver. If it gets up in the over 24 mark, again, just like the 49ers game, you got to like the Patriots because they have way better offense. But 13.5 is the line, and it's gone up to 14, but I'm going to do my picks on base of what the lines have opened at. So 13.5, I'd like to take the extra point for Denver, but I'll take it at 13.5. And I'll take him plus 13.5. I just think Tebow will show up in this game. He's one of the most fierce competitors in the league. If you haven't got a chance to check out Tim Tebow, The Chosen One documentary done on ESPN, it is available here on YouTube. I highly recommend watching that. It's a very good documentary, and it really can show you just how much this guy wants to win and how competitive he is. If you haven't got to check that out, I advise you to. It's a great video. The next game is the Texans against the Ravens. The Texans are pretty good on both offense and defense. Defensive number, they have 3.5, which I thought was a little lower than I thought it was going to be. I think they're 4th against the run and 6th against the pass, which is pretty good. Ravens are 3 defensive number, both being good against pass and against the run. Offensively, Texans have a number of 10, heavily weighted towards the rushing attack, but they can still throw the ball too. That's going to be another big question mark in this game, is going to be the ability of TJ Yates to move the ball against this Baltimore Ravens defense. You can say the same thing about Flacco, but I think Flacco has a few more options. They're at home. I still think Ray Rice is a little bit better of a running back than Foster, especially against. He's more of a pound for pound type running back, whereas Foster is more of a speed back. He might have some troubles getting in the open fields against a good defense like this. I don't trust Flacco a whole lot as quarterback, but I do really like the Ravens here. I don't think the Ravens are going to be able to win a Super Bowl with Flacco, but I think they're going to be able to beat just about everybody in the AFC and get to the Super Bowl. The Ravens at home -8 is going to be my Jay good pick of the week. I think they're the best selection on here at -8. I really think the Ravens should handle the Texans pretty easily. I'm going to take them by about 2 touchdowns or more. I think the Ravens really should win this game, and pretty easily too, being that Andre Johnson's still banged up. Mario Williams is out for the Texans, and they're down to their third-string quarterback in TJ Yates, which I don't know how far you can go in the class with third-string quarterbacks. So the Ravens at -8 are my good pick of the week. That's the one to go for if you want to pick one. The Giants are at the Packers. Now, looking at this game, both teams are pretty good. They both can score. They both don't play a whole lot of defense. The Packers are the worst in the NFL against the pass, and that's could keep this game close. And the Giants have one of the better passing offenses in the NFL with Victor Cruz, Hakeem Nicks, and Mario Manningham as their third option. Manningham is pretty good for a third option. He gets about 6 yards a game, and he's been doing fairly well at that third option. But anyways, the offensive number for the Giants is 18.5, which is heavily weighted towards passing because it's the worst rushing attack in the NFL, which won't be a factor in this game because neither one of these teams are going to try to run the ball. Packers' offensive number is 15, heavily weighted towards the passing attack. Again, they don't ever run the ball, but they somehow have more yards than the Giants. So it's basically 2 passing attacks against 2 bad defense, if you look at it. The defensive number for the Packers is 25, heavily weighted against on the passing yards allowed, but they're against the run. They're not very good as well. I want to say they're around the 21 mark in that. And the Giants' defensive number is 24. They give up quite a bit of yards in the air. The big factor here is Lambeau Field. That's where the game is being played at. The Packers have had a great success at home, especially in the playoffs. They use the cold to their advantage. I think the Packers are going to be a little bit rusty early in this game just because Rodgers sat, and before he sat, he had a couple bad performances against the Chiefs. He completed it was under 50%. I want to say it was like 45% of his passes, which was a little bit of question for concern. But again, he's Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be the NFL MVP. Him or Drew Brees will win that award. And I think the Packers they're going to turn it up in about the second quarter. I think it'll be a pretty high scoring game. I like the Packers here by about 10 points. I'm going to take them to win this game about 31-21. So the line is -7.5. It'll probably actually could be quite a bit higher scoring than that. But I'm going to try and give a realistic prediction because it's kind of hard to predict a 45-45 type game. But you're looking at both teams in the the high 20s, mid 30s type. So I'm going to make the Packers my final selection at home at -7.5. I thank you guys for coming back to check out this video this week, and I will do my best to stay on top of it. I've had a lot of people ask me to keep continuing the channel, so I'm going to. And I wish you guys the best of luck in your NFL picks this week. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, just message me on here. I will get back to it as soon as I can. Comment if you'd like, and of course subscribe. I won't say no, say no to that. All right, guys, have a good week. Good luck.